Have you ever felt your heart race at the sight of someone new, only to wonder months later why that initial spark fizzled out? Or maybe you've experienced the opposite, a slow-burning connection that grew into an unshakable bond? Today, we're peeling back the curtain on love's greatest mystery, time. Get ready to discover why your brain needs more than just a few magical moments to create lasting love. This isn't your typical romance story. It's a journey into the fascinating science of falling and staying in love. First things first, let's talk about what happens in our brains when we fall in love. You see, love isn't just this magical, inexplicable feeling. It's actually a complex interplay of chemicals in our brains called neurotransmitters. When you first meet someone you're attracted to, your brain goes into overdrive. It starts releasing a cocktail of chemicals that give you that initial rush. The excitement, the butterflies, the slight nervousness. This is what we often call falling in love. But here's where it gets interesting. This initial rush isn't sustainable long-term. It's like a fireworks display. Spectacular, but brief. For love to develop into something deeper and more lasting, it needs time. Now, you might be wondering, how much time are we talking about here? Well, contrary to what romantic comedies might have us believe, true love doesn't usually happen overnight. But it also doesn't necessarily take years and years to develop. In fact, research suggests that it typically takes about 6 months to a year for love to reach what scientists call a high threshold. This is the point where a person feels deeply committed to the relationship and can't imagine their life without their partner. But why does it take this long? Well, it all comes down to those neurotransmitters we talked about earlier and something called receptors. Think of receptors like tiny catching mitts in your brain. When your brain releases love-related chemicals, these receptors catch them. But here's the kicker. Your brain needs time to create enough of these receptors to handle all the love chemicals floating around. It's like your brain is saying, whoa, there's a lot of love going on here. I need to build more catchers. And this process of building more receptors? Yeah, that takes time. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. As these receptors develop, your experience of love changes. That initial excitement starts to transform into something deeper and more peaceful. You might find that you're less nervous around your partner, more comfortable being yourself. This is why a relationship that's a few months old feels different from one that's just starting. It's not that the love is less intense, it's that it's evolving, becoming more stable and secure. But here's a crucial point. This process isn't guaranteed. Just because time passes doesn't mean love will automatically deepen. The path of love, while it follows certain biological patterns, is also influenced by our actions and experiences. This is why sometimes a newer relationship can feel more intense and committed than one that's been going on for years. It's not about the quantity of time, but the quality of interactions and experiences during that time. So what does this mean for you and your relationships? Well, it suggests a few things. 1. First and foremost, be patient. Love needs time to develop fully. Don't expect to feel deeply committed after just a few weeks. 2. However, it's important to note that time alone doesn't guarantee deeper love. Don't assume that just because you've been with someone for years, your love is automatically deeper or more meaningful. 3. Instead, focus on creating positive experiences and interactions. These are what truly feed the development of love and strengthen your bond. 4. Lastly, understand that it's normal for the feeling of love to change over time. If that initial excitement fades, it doesn't necessarily mean you're falling out of love. It might mean you're moving into a deeper, more stable phase of love. Love is a journey, and like any journey, it takes time. But armed with this knowledge about how love develops in our brains, you can approach your relationships with more understanding and patience. Remember, while love might feel magical, there's real science behind it. And understanding this science can help us nurture and grow our relationships in meaningful ways. That's all for today, folks. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, what's been your experience with love and time? Does this science match up with what you felt? Until next time, keep loving and keep learning.